evening. It's morning over here in Australia and it's evening for you guys in the US. I hope that your week is improving. Look, we're in these weird, wacky times at the moment where there's so much uncertainty. But what I have noticed in the last week or so is the number of people that are actually starting to do different things that they never have done before. I've done so many readings for people that have just gone, I feel so lost. My whole entire life was my job. I'm an executive, I'm a CEO, I'm this person, I'm that person, all these labels. And now that they can't go into work, we're on stage 3 lockdown, which means that if you don't have to absolutely positively go into work, then you need to stay home where we live. And a lot of people are really struggling with what their identity is without this job. And even though they're going back to the job, you know, the jobs haven't dissolved into thin air and never to be seen again. But a lot of people valued themselves on their job. A lot of people thought, I am this, therefore I am. And it's really been very interesting to watch people transform from what they thought was so important in their lives to what is actually important in their lives. And I think, you know, when we get on the other side of this, however long it may take, and I absolutely know it's going to be about 4 weeks. It's not going to be 3 months at all. But when we get on the other side of this, it's going to be it's such a different approach to work. I really don't want anyone to go back into the same old Groundhog Day that they were experiencing before. I really want people to go, you know what? Yes, it was testing, it was challenging, but I pushed through all of those challenges and I found a side of me that hadn't been there, or I didn't realize was there, or I reconnected with my partner, I reconnected with my kids, or I hadn't spent so much time talking to my friends on social media that I did when I wasn't able to go and visit them, and we've deepened our relationships, and I've deepened what the meaning of life is for me, and that would be the ultimate goal for everyone to achieve, because, you know, without a doubt, Corona has certainly caused a big chaos right across the entire world, and there's so much other stuff going on as well, you know, that will come out in the wash. And I've done a couple of higher realm download, which is when I actually channel directly from the higher realm, and they're on my YouTube channel, so if you'd like to check those out, please do. There will be more coming through as well, now that I've asked if it's okay if I continue to record these sessions, and I've been granted to do so. So it's really interesting what's happening with, you know, a lot of the conspiracy theories that we were thinking about previously are actually starting to manifest right before our eyes, and a lot of things that we questioned before, you know, we've got more questions now, but things in some crazy way are actually starting to make a little bit more sense for a lot of people. I've noticed that here, the lizards in our backyard are actually like tripling every single day, just about. We've got lots of lizards. We're on a quarter of an acre, so we have lots of, you know, not wildlife so much, but little critters and things running around, and they, you know, they don't seem to be as shy anymore. So, you know, there's one small positive for me, but, you know, the grass seems to be greener, and the things that we maybe didn't pay much attention to before, you know, we're changing our perception, we're changing the way we view it. There's another thing that's come up a lot is fear. And, you know, there's a couple of acronyms around that: forget everything and run. So fear, forget everything and run. Or and what I've been teaching people for years and years is to feel emotion and release. And that's what fear is all about. I mean, if we go to a scary movie and we watch it with someone who giggles all the way through, it's a little bit hard to take the scariness seriously because we've got a giggle pot next to us. And then that person starts giggling and the next person starts giggling, and we're all laughing about silly stuff, and all of a sudden the fear that we felt watching that horror movie is no longer there. And I know that this is real life, it's not a horror movie, but it's a similar sort of thing when we're surrounded by heightened emotions, whether they're positive emotions or whether they're fear-based emotions, we will tap into that energy. The sense of connection that we want to have as human beings, it's quite strong. And unfortunately, it's fear that's connecting us at the moment. And, a lot of people are acting, in ways that they actually hadn't thought they'd ever act before. I know that here in Australia, and I'm almost ashamed to say it, but we've actually had women in my own age group become quite violent and very aggressive and combative in supermarkets and in restaurants before we closed them down, and in takeaway outlets. And it's certainly shown a side of people that, we're middle-aged mums, we're not young kids anymore. We're not supposed to behave like that. I'm not really. So it certainly put people into a corner, and they've reacted in ways that perhaps they themselves never knew that they would react like that. We've also had people, unfortunately, spitting in fruit here, and they've since been arrested, which is just, I just can't seem to get my head around that style of behaviour. So the fear has really created, a situation where people are just not behaving how they would normally behave. And we need to bring that back a little bit and think about, am I buying into the fear that's surrounding all of the things that are going on in the world at the moment, or am I keeping my calm state where I need to keep calm, and so my immune system is working at its optimum best? Because, when you get down into those fear, you get the depression, and then you get isolated, and then, you don't want to go out, and fear takes over and makes all your decisions so much harder. So it can really bring your immune system down at the same time, because they're a lower frequency. You really need to be up in those higher frequencies for you to be able to maintain your health, mental health as well, not just physical health. So it's really interesting watching some of the people that I've read for 14, 15 years have said, do I have anything to worry about with this? And I'm like, no, these are the things you need to do. You need to practice good hygiene. You need to do the things that the government is giving you the guidelines on, but you also need to use your intuition and trust what's happening around you, and trust how you feel around the situation as well. And, I can guarantee you that if you stop and sit and really pay attention to how you're feeling, you are absorbing other people's energies and buying into that fear, which is not good for anybody. It's just really not. So we will get through this. When it was not the end of our civilization. It's we did a little test on numbers here in Australia, and a flu season actually decimates more families and causes more deaths than the coronavirus. So there's a lot of hype going on, and I really urge you to try to remain as calm as possible and really have a look at researching a little bit for yourself, trusting your inner gut. We're very intuitive beings. It doesn't matter whether you're here on A1R Psychic Radio, you haven't been discovered yet, or you just get these funny little feelings. Everybody has an intuitive ability. And, now's the time for us to tap into that and see how we're actually feeling about this scenario and what's happening, as opposed to letting other people dictate those terms for us. So relationships has come up a lot too. A lot of people are strengthening relationships. A lot of relationships are starting to fall by the wayside because they've been distracted by their work, or they've been distracted by their family, or dropping the kids off, picking the kids up, taking them to school, taking them to soccer, and all those sorts of everyday things that distract people. So, if you're in a relationship that needs a bit of work, now is the time to do that. That is the perfect distraction, your relationship with your loved ones. Use this time to be able to strengthen them, to understand each other, to find new coping mechanisms, to find new ways to communicate. And, if your relationship is going from strength to strength, my husband and I personally, we've been working all the way through in our other jobs. We're very, very fortunate in that regard. And, we've got a wonderful relationship. And I said to him the other day, maybe we should see if we can go on leave and let somebody else come back to work. And he's like, that'd be great. So we're actually looking forward to having a little bit of time when we get through the busyness that has now been chucked at us in our respective jobs. So, just to debrief, I suppose, and we talk to each other every single day about everything that's going on. So we're very, very fortunate. So I urge you to do the same. Talk to your partners, talk to your loved ones, and see how they're feeling. Test in with your mates. Say, how's this going for you? And use this time to deepen your relationship, because the more you spend time doing the things that you love and that you appreciate, more your frequency will lift, and the more your frequency lifts, the higher your immune system lifts as well. Okay, so little tricks that will get us through this. Another little thing that I've been sharing with a lot of people is frequency 528. So if you jump on YouTube and you type in 528 HZ, so hotel, Deborah, HZ, and have a look at the transformation tone. And they're meditations that you can do that would just, when you listen to them, and they are like songs, okay? So if you find one that drives you a bit batty because it's not your style of song, just move on to the next one. But the 528 hertz is where the frequency will shift your body. It'll shift your frequency that you're sending out as well. It'll just balance you out. It'll settle down your solar plexus, which is where all your emotions are dealt with. It will also help with psychic traumas. If you're not familiar with that term, it's when you get like a little wart on your psyche, and the wart is formed when you have a positive and a negative emotion or response to something at the same time. So for me, it was excitement, and every time I was excited as a child, somebody came along and destroyed that excitement every single time. So I associated things that if I don't get excited, then I won't get the negative, and that stopped me from experiencing what true excitement was. And now I get excited at like the best of things, because I know that it's not a negative. I know that I'm not going to get ridiculed for being excited. So that's what a psychic trauma is in a nutshell. So for you to work on those things as well, and this was 528 frequency will help you do that. It will elevate you, relax you. There's one in particular that I really like personally, and that is the one that has like a gold lotus coming out of the screen when you first start it. That is one of my favorites. I just find within a couple of minutes of listening to it, I just start to relax a little bit more, and I don't try to visualize. I don't try to do anything fancy. I do all the naughty things that you're taught not to do. I fold my arms, I cross my ankles, I lay down, I sit up, lay on the couch, stick cushions under my knees and my neck, and do whatever is comfortable for you. It really doesn't matter. We're such individual, complex people that, if you're comfortable, you will do it. If you're uncomfortable, you won't do it because you'll hate it. And, the whole idea is to enjoy it and to do it often. So it's in your best interest. What else is going on at the moment? I know that within the next couple of days, a lot of people are actually starting to feel I actually have the worst headache right now. So I'm having a little bit of trouble formulating my words from my brain to my mouth. And a lot of people are experiencing different things. They're going through different purges and different shifts. And some people are getting vertigo, so they're feeling a little bit dizzy. It kind of feels like your blood pressure is off, but you haven't just got up too quickly or sat down too quickly. So it's there's lots going on. Some other people, I had a lady tell me recently, she said, I don't drink and I feel like I've had too many wines. And I'm like, that's your shifting, your body is processing all the changes that are happening in the world. It's not as busy. I can lay in my bed at night time and not hear sirens and not hear the normal chatter or somebody's music. It's really very quiet. I actually love it. I'm an introvert, so I'm really enjoying it. But the things that are happening for people and the shifts that are going on, the purging that's happening for us as well. A lot of people are just crying for absolutely no reason. I had a lady earlier today, she said we were just having a normal conversation about stuff, and she said, and here comes the tears. And when that happens, your body is emotionally responding to things, even, if it's not as elegant and it's perhaps you're releasing in other ways, if you get my drift, then it's still a release. Don't block it. Don't stop it. Don't tell yourself not to be silly. Don't tell yourself not to cry. allow those things to happen, because that's how we nurture ourselves and how we water our souls and how we grow from the experience as well. And also stops the trapped emotions, and it stops those emotional blockages that, in relationships is a good example. If you date a couple of people that are little buggers and, then dishonest, or they do terrible things or behave in ways that, is not exactly honourable, you tend to take those experiences yourself, and you try not to make the same mistake by choosing those style of people. Or you go, oh, I've seen this before, it's a bit of a red flag. So you're using your experiences of the past to be able to impact your current decisions. But, and some people go from relationship to relationship, or they just don't go back to a relationship for a very long time because the hurt is just too much for them to process. So they stash it, they stick it in the hurt box and try not to visit it too often because it's just too difficult. So now's the time while all these things are going on to have a look and to scrutinize those times in your life and say, is this a hurt that I need to keep hanging on to? Can I get rid of the hurt and let go of all of that, but still take that lesson with me to, help me identify red flags in the future? So hibernation sabbaticals all around in this household, and I'm encouraging as many people as possible to really just take this time to learn about themselves, understand their boundaries, understand their moral compass, their ethics. If you've always wanted to look at a different religion, do it now. If you've always wanted to have a look at learning how to paint, do it now. There's lots of things that you can do. The internet we still have. Use it as often as you can, not to look up fear-based things, but to look up how to cross-stitch or how to edit videos. Or, there's so many free programs out there at the moment that, you can pop on your computer and put all your family pictures together and turn it into a video and put some backing music, your favorite song or something on it. So, learn how to do those sorts of things and take this time to get the hang of ourselves and to regroup and take our breath in and start to relax a little bit more into what's happening around us. I'm doing a lot of astrology charts at the moment, so I'm doing a lot of natal charts, which is where all your planets were right at the time that you were born. That is helping people understand their 7 sub-personalities, which is your 7 planets, and that make up your natal chart, the main planets. And that has been giving people a lot of comfort as well, because they're actually able to go, right, okay, I'm going to take this time to learn about this, or learn about my North Node, which is my soul contract, what I'm here for this lifetime. Numerology has been really popular at the moment too, and I think what it is because there's a spiritual side to it, but there's also a mathematical side. So people are still trying to apply logic so they can get their head around it, so it's something tangible for them to take control of while they're doing the spiritual stuff, while they're transitioning and they're purging and they're releasing things that no longer need to be in their lives. So it's very cool. Channeled readings are something that's happening more and more for me at the moment. I take bookings in overnight, so every morning I'm greeted with bookings. So it's really very interesting. All of the A1R Psychic Radio listeners actually have a discount. So instead of $80 for their half-hour read, they get $50 for their half-hour read. So if you're interested in doing that, we're actually able to do that through video conferencing. We don't have to be in the same country. We don't even have to be in the same room. Frequency is frequency. I can shift into that anywhere we go. So if you're interested in doing that, go over to my Facebook page, Insight by Johnita Francis, and send me a message through there, and we can organise that for you. When I pop the link up to this video a little bit later for tomorrow, I will also put the link for the PayPal account in there if you're interested in having that reading. So yeah, Twitter and Instagram are other places that you can catch me. I have a YouTube channel. As I mentioned earlier, the higher realm downloads are happening. If you're not familiar with what a higher realm is, this is sort of like if you explain it in such a way that you have spirit, which is people that have been here before that have passed away. Then you have entity, which are people that have never been to Earth before and never had a human incarnation, but they are still there. They're still in spirit and soul form. And then you have the higher realm. So I tap into the higher realm as well as the spirit and the entities. So It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So check me out on YouTube if you've got some time to do that whilst you're perusing how you're going to enhance and just get the hang of yourself and enjoy learning more about yourself without all those distractions and those labels. So rightio, I think we're almost at the end of the program for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in and saying hello, listening to me as always. You can catch me, as I mentioned, on Facebook, Insights by Johnita. That's Johnita Francis, Francis. You can also catch me on my website, insightsbyjohnita.com, and then Instagram and Twitter, and of course YouTube. I keep my name as Insights by Johnita everywhere I go, except Instagram made me get @iJohnita. So I sound like a bit of a robot. Johnita, very cool, isn't it? So thanks for that, Instagram. It was really much appreciated. I had a bit of a chuckle when I saw that, and I'm not very savvy, so I didn't realise how to change it. I'm stuck with it now. But that's where you'll find me on Instagram. Yeah, I think that's about it. Next week we'll be doing collective readings because the energy will be completely different next week. You can mark my words, everybody who is listening. Get out in the garden, take your shoes off, enjoy what's going on around you, reconnect with your partners, reconnect with your kids, learn about yourselves. You should be your most favourite loved subject in the entire universe. So learn about yourselves today. I'd love to hear what you're doing if you're taking up a hobby. And yeah, I'd love to hear it. All right, guys, thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll see you all again next week. Bye for now.